suggestions and energy, and thank you, Janae, for that. Yeah, so we just want to say welcome. I think we also, before we get into it, we just want to also call out and acknowledge the events in Turkey and Syria last week. And we have a very large community in Turkey and folks in Syria as well. And if anybody here on the call has been impacted, or you know somebody who's been impacted, we just we want to say that our thoughts are with you, and we've been thinking about you, and it's a very, very sad and hard time. So we're here for you, as on behalf of Mina, but also just as on behalf of like individuals. And it feels kind of weird to start without even acknowledging that. So I just wanted to start by that. Okay, I'm also gonna just kind of take us through really quickly what our agenda is going to look like today. Like I said, we've been working towards zkIgnite Cohort 1 now for a couple months, and so we're excited to kind of kick off. We've been talking about it in general terms, so we'll finally get into the details in terms of what is the program, how do you get involved, what are the different ways that the outcomes that will come from this 12-week program, and we'll finish off with some time for Q&A. I'm personally really excited because it's the first step in moving towards a real community-governed grants process. It's the earliest steps in building out the ZK app ecosystem. Again, to kind of just be here as this group, and I see like 260 plus people joining the call. It's just quite exciting. So yeah, again, we'll get into it here. I'm just getting my slides ready. Cool. So we'll start off with a keynote from Evan, our Mina Foundation's CEO. We'll then talk about the program details. What is zkIgnite? How do you get involved? What are the grants? What does the grants process look like? Stuff like that. Then we'll do a quick ideation session, and then we'll also finish up with the Q&A. We're gonna, even though we started a bit late, we're still gonna aim for 75 minutes from now. So we're gonna really aim to stay on track and make sure that the rest of the time is on schedule. So with that, I'm gonna turn it over to Evan. I'll also just stop sharing my screen so we can, so we can see Evan as well.
Is Evan added in as a panelist now?
As we're figuring this part out as well, if you're in the chat, maybe if you're comfortable saying where you're dialing in from, or where you're representing Mina from around the world, we can see where everybody's kind of based. Nice, this is amazing. Yes, Lisbon. I'm in Lisbon at the moment. Who's that? Max, yes. Hey, Max. Let's hang out.
Hello, everyone. I am now here. It's awesome, though, seeing everyone chiming in further from. This is so cool. Yes. Let me know when I can get started saying some things.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So, welcome, everyone. Super exciting to be kicking off zkIgnite Cohort 1. So we built Mina to be this layer 1 that's powered by zero knowledge proofs, and a layer 1 that can enable all these great things to be built, all these privacy functionality, verifiable scalability, all this user-centric ways of building applications that hasn't been possible before. And zkIgnite is really the first step in taking that vision from one that is a technical one, as it now exists, which is super cool, to one that also just actually exists in the world as applications that are impactful, as developer tooling, which takes advantage of zero knowledge proofs and all the novel functionality they provide. And I mean, I think it's like super exciting that we're able to take this awesome technology that is like brand new and unlocks so much new stuff for both crypto and for the internet and applications in general, and launch it together in this way where we can start really building things collaboratively. I'm super excited for it. So there's a lot possible if we are able to build this stuff together. So, I mean, I mentioned privacy. I mentioned what it means to have verifiability at scale. But in terms of actual applications, this stuff can be very impactful. We can have things like globally accessible, private, and verifiable voting. We can have applications that you can fully trust from proofs that make it all the way onto your phone. You can have crypto applications which actually bring on the features of privacy and are able to, therefore, in my opinion anyway, well, no, in terms of feature-wise, they can compete with existing Web2 applications in ways that are much more user-owned and controlled. And I think also this is like a really important time for zero knowledge proofs, because you see all these ways in which the existing digital landscape is not living up to what it needs to do to really be something that is in all of our collective benefits. And I think zero knowledge proofs really have the opportunity to do that. And the stuff we're doing with ZK apps, I'm hoping can help launch all these new applications and new functionality that previously wasn't possible, but now is, with zero knowledge proofs, with ZK apps, with Mina. And I think it's like super exciting. I think also beyond this actual set of applications, zkIgnite itself is a little bit different than other grant programs. You know, one way we could have launched this is to have an application form open on our website, get a bunch of applications, and give funding to projects that met some criteria for applications. But I think that would be really missing some of the real potential we have as a cryptocurrency and as a community to build something that is much more collaborative and something that is, you know, much more decentralized, much more fun, much more really in the spirit of what we're trying to do with Mina, being powered by participants. And so this is also one of the things I'm super excited about zkIgnite for, is this is a place where we can build collaboratively. We can work on proposals, give each other feedback on them, and electors can help choose projects. And through this process of us all coming together and building as a community, we can build something that is much better than if we kind of operated just as individuals in a silo, applying for some grant money. So I think that like this is both an exciting moment for zero knowledge proofs, and it can be an exciting moment for what Mina's community looks like and what we can build together as a community. So I'm super excited for that over the next 12 weeks or so, for us to build together and be able to realize what's possible with zero knowledge proofs and with Mina and as a community. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to helping whoever I can in the process. So yeah, I think also, like, you know, what we build with the zkIgnite cohort 1 is really going to define what the community looks like down the road. So, you know, we are like kind of doing the first iteration of this, and we're kind of pioneering what it's going to look like, and how we all show up and how we all work together is really going to set the stage for the future. So, I mean, it should be fun, and I'm looking forward to doing that with all of you. I'm going to yield the floor now to whoever is next, but great being here at the beginning of the program, and look forward to building with all of you over the next few weeks and months.
Nice one. Thanks very much, Evan. And I'm going to keep us rolling with the just understanding zkIgnite. So what do we really kind of want to collectively get to over the next 15-ish minutes? First, like the why. Evan just kind of covered it, but in terms of a program format, like why this structure? And when I say this structure, again, I mean a community governed grants process with very kind of like specific guidelines, which we'll talk about. We'll do a quick team introductions. We'll then talk about tracks. So the two different, we have two different tracks, which you can kind of think of as paths or journeys within zkIgnite. There's the ZK app track and there's the dev track. We're then going to kind of recap what are the different ways to participate. And then we'll talk about how to get support and then finish off again with some ideas and insights. Okay, bam, this slide, Cambrian explosion. The goal of zkIgnite is to create a Cambrian explosion of ZK apps across the Mina ecosystem. Like all of these crazy little things that are flying at us at hyperspeed and lots of color and energy. A Cambrian explosion, for those who don't know, was, I think it was like 500 or so million years ago, when the world went from like boring stuff like rocks and non-living things to bam, all of a sudden there's all sorts of living organisms and modern animal life as we know it. And all of our, all of us as Homo sapiens kind of came from this moment where we went from nothing to something. And I'm not a scientist, and I apologize to all the scientists on this call, but we know that it really came from not one thing, not any one event that made life possible, but really a combination of environmental and evolutionary things that were happening and bouncing off one another and kind of created this spark that made life possible. That's kind of as much as we know. Again, probably more people know more than me, but when we thought about zkIgnite and how to structure this program, again, as Evan was saying, it wasn't so much, we don't want to do an RFP, very like top-down driven process where there's a list of things that are prioritized by a small group of people that says, okay, this is the order in which stuff needs to get built. But instead, there's so many participants as part of Mina's ecosystem. There's developers, marketers, product managers, investors, so many people with different skin in the game in terms of realizing, Mina's vision and bringing ZK apps to life, that we think by putting all of these same people in an environment together and giving them the tools to decide not only what gets funding, but how to work together, how to give feedback, how to kind of create and build from the ground up. That is the kind of goal of what we're trying to achieve. And this is kind of like an experiment in making that happen. So I think in that kind of Cambrian explosion way of thinking, we have this 12-week program. It's broken out into different phases, which I'll cover in just about 2 slides. But the idea is that we have, by putting all of, Mina's kind of like the people who are carrying the flag in the same structure and allowing them to figure it out together, that is where the real value and the real things get created, not from kind of some really like top-down, step-by-step executed grants program. And Evan also covered this, but cohort 1 is just 12 weeks long. We're going to do it again, then we're going to do it again, and then we're going to do it again until there is this robust and thriving ecosystem of ZK apps and users and people who are really being impacted by this on a daily basis. And so when we're talking about the why and why specifically this structure, it's really this idea of experimentation and creation that we're kind of aiming for. Okay, we're going to run really quickly around the Mina Foundation team who's going to be supporting this. I also want to give a shout out to the different ecosystem partners that are also working and making this vision a reality. They're not on the slide, but folks like Gregor and Jason and Jack and Regina and Brandon and others from O1 Labs. There's folks from Viable Systems. There's folks from, just different partners who are making this possible. We have an innovation platform where all this is happening. There's a guy named Greg and his team who are working on this. So there's lots of different faces. We're just going to quickly do the Mina Foundation team this time, but in future weeks, we'll talk to the rest of the team. So I'll pass it off for Dor for a quick intro.
Hi, I'm Dor. I'm a head of ecosystem. I'm here to support you, to feel inspired, and to make this ecosystem the best ecosystem in the blockchain space.
Hi, everyone. I'll go next. My name is Christine Yip. I'm the head of community at the foundation. I'm here to help you and the team in any way I can. I'm really excited about today, and everyone, as Will said, this is the first time we're doing it. So please let us know in the chat during the session, after the session, if you have any ideas, suggestions, or feedback. Thank you.
Is Yasin here? Oh, maybe he's not. It's I think we might have a little bit of the panel issue. So maybe whoever else is on, if you just want to come off mute.
Yasin said hello in the chat. Hey, Yasin. He said hi.
Nice. Hey, Yasin.
Yasin.
Yes.
Hey, everyone. I'm Alex. I'm on the marketing team and helping oversee the ambassador program for Cohort 1 as well.
Is Dylan here? I don't think he is.
I don't think so.
Yeah, no, I'm here. Hi, everyone. Was looking to try to get that zkIgnite background. I work here at the Mina Foundation on the Global Ecosystem BD team. So I'll just be helping you build your products and hopefully can introduce you to some really interesting potential backers in the future.
Brilliant. Sorry, Dylan. You can only fit 5 people in the ribbon at the top of my screen, and unfortunately you were not in my top 5. Hi everyone, my name is Angus. I have more of a beard than I have in the photo there, but I will be helping. I do developer relations at Mina Foundation, and I'll be helping answer your technical questions and providing technical support throughout the zkIgnite process. You'll also see me in some other places.
Hey everyone, I'm Caleb. I too will be in the Discord answering questions and helping with any support. I can't grow a beard that good, but I try. But happy to be here and excited to see what projects come into existence.
Hello, everyone. I'm wrapping us all up. I'm Janae. On Discord, I'm Janae Sauce, and you will see me doing a little bit of everything and anything I can to support you and this team. Back to Will.
Nice. Thank you, Janae. And Janae gets a shout out just for managing the meeting logistics craziness and just staying cool and calm and collected throughout everything. So thanks, Janae. Okay, cool. Next slide. How does zkIgnite actually work? We've talked a lot about it. Let's get into the details. I'll also reference, like, there's a lot of information that we're going to be throwing at you. This meeting is recorded. We're also breaking it down and then into like more digestible chunks in terms of documents and things that you can look through. So I just want to call out, we're going to be kind of doing this over time. You don't have to remember everything. There'll be plenty of time to kind of get up to speed, but this is just the general overview. So you definitely will have questions. That there is going to be some messiness involved. That's normal. That's okay. You're not supposed to like remember everything up front. We're all kind of like doing this. Again, this is the first cohort. So all feedback as well is welcome in Discord as we kind of work through today. Okay, so when we think about the program, we're thinking about breaking it down into 3 phases: the propose phase, the funding phase, and the build phase. And so during the proposed phase, as it's named, like the outcome are proposals that are submitted to our innovation platform. The innovation platform is the venue where all of this is happening. We'll show you right at the end of this call. Those proposals are then evaluated and voted by a team of electors who are community members who have lots of experience in the Mina ecosystem and can represent kind of the diverse background that's needed in terms of being able to make these decisions. And then the specific funded projects move on to the build phase, which is the last 4 weeks of the program, where they actually get funded and start building based off of the proposals that they submitted. To go into a little bit more detail, the proposed phase is, you can either, submit a proposal if you have an idea. You can join a team of somebody else who potentially has a really good idea but needs other team members, and there could be a good fit there. You could also just give feedback and influence the outcome of some of these elector decisions by raising good points, questions. Have you thought about this? Have you seen the way that this other project did that? and creating kind of that discussion again when we think about like the Cambrian explosion, providing value and not just having an idea, writing a proposal, going and doing it, but actually like contributing to that conversation and helping, again, these projects who will represent the Mina ecosystem in the future, making sure that kind of like your voice is heard when they're kind of in that ideation phase. So the first couple of weeks, even, will just be about writing proposals. That's where we are right now. We're actually not opening the proposal writing process until next week. So this is like, even, part of this week is ideation. We'll talk about that in a second. But the first 4 weeks are all about getting to that point where there are proposals. Those proposals are submitted, and then the fund, they are decided on by a team of electors who kind of allocate funding as they're reviewing and working through them. So you'll probably hear us talk about phases a couple times, and when we say the proposed phase, we mean weeks 1 through 4. When we say the funding phase, we mean weeks 5 through 8, and then the build phase, weeks 9 through 12. It's also worth calling out that like the zkIgnite build phase does not just end after week 12. These projects are being funded for a longer period of time. It's just in terms of weekly gatherings and how we're kind of structuring either like meetings or keynote presentations or workshops or networking events or office hours and things like that. We're kind of keeping it to the 12-week program. So then we can start on another cohort afterwards. But the building and the projects that are funded will actually go on for a longer period of time, specifically at least 3 months, which we'll talk about in a second. I keep saying that. Okay, cool. Yes. So I had mentioned that there's 2 different tracks. And when we're saying the word track, you can just think journey or path, like as you, a participant wanting to figure out where to contribute. There's the ZK app track and there's the dev for dev track. And if you're kind of wondering where you fit in between those, we have very specific challenge descriptions or questions here. And so I'll read that in a second. But one easy way to think about it is, who are you building for? If you are building for developers and improving the ZK app developer experience, and the developer is the person that you have in mind who will be using the product, then you probably will be in the dev for dev track. If you're building something that's for end users, real people, businesses, non-developers, then you're probably belonging in the ZK app track here. Each track has a question that identifies like what we're trying to solve, and ultimately like what should guide the proposals when you're writing them, and also what will guide the kind of evaluation of these same proposals. And so I'll just read it here for the ZK app track. How can we help people access, use, and benefit from blockchain applications while preserving their privacy? And this speaks a little bit to what Evan had covered, in that like we're now living in a world where we're creating data everywhere that we go. And the data sets are incredibly rich, and that data can be really, really powerful when it's harnessed in the right way. But a lot of times in today's like landscape, we're either giving that data away for free to be exploited, or we're leaving it on the sidelines, aka like, reject on GDPR everywhere that you go, for all the European friends. For many businesses, hosting data is a huge liability. And so while we're moving in a world where data is being created and collected all the time, it feels like there's a huge disconnect in terms of what that data can actually, how we can really harness the power of that. And if you're in the blockchain space, which you probably are, anyone on this call, like that is the kind of core value proposition, at least to me, that when I think about like where blockchains come into the picture, not just Mina, but blockchains as an innovation, they can serve as these like aggregators and maintainers of these incredibly rich data sets that you can call to, build on, anyone can access. And the potential for decentralized applications on top of them allows for a more inclusive and personalized and overall improved experience for accessing the internet. But as we've seen, and I think most people could argue that that potential still hasn't been realized to its full extent. And in order to make it real at scale and to be able to kind of, again, harness the power of these insanely big and powerful data sets, you need privacy built in. And as Evan was saying, that's exactly what Mina was built to address with zero knowledge proofs at the core of its architecture as a layer 1. And that is what ZK apps we believe are here to fill that gap and to bring that adoption to scale. So whether it's like, again, private or secured or anonymous voting system, or being able to access healthcare data across different platforms in a secure and safe way. There's so many different ways that we think this challenge could be addressed. There is no specific like privacy meaning a mixer or anything like that. It's much more about how do we leverage the power of what decentralized applications can bring, and doing that through ZK app architecture we think is really, really interesting. And so that's really anything in the ZK app track. That's what we're going to be aiming to address here. The total grant pool for this is 250K USDC and 150K Mina. And the image on the right is completely random from Stable Diffusion, but we had like kind of more a corporate stock image of like rockets and stuff. And I think this is like a rocket ship alien. It's kind of topical with like the alien stuff, I guess, that's going on. Maybe you can throw in the chat if you're a believer or not. Anyways, I'll go to the next slide. Okay. How are ZK app proposals evaluated? So the elector group for ZK apps will be really, again, trusted community members who are putting on their ZK app like end user hat. So thinking about like the early adopters of what ZK app end users will be, and funding proposals that they could see having real world applications. The full criteria will be available on the platform, so you could be able to go in and click through it. I'll show you at the end in a 2-second demo, and the full description of impact, business potential, feasibility, and clarity will be described there. It's a combination again of what I just discussed, but it's like, is there a potential to impact everyday users? Is there a potential to become a growing business? Is the proposal feasible given current platform or current like functionality with snarky.js, which is Mina's programming language written in TypeScript? Clarity, like, is the proposal written well in a way that it's easy to understand and it's easy to assess? Okay, the other track, dev for dev track, I kind of touched on this already, but how can we help the Mina ecosystem developers build more effective and efficient ZK apps? Again, like snarky.js, Mina's programming language, enables developers to leverage the power of ZK circuits without them needing to learn a completely new syntax and language. And as a result, there's been a flood of new people joining the Mina ecosystem already, even before zkIgnite kicked off. And I just want to flash really quickly this slide, which we pulled from the Electric Capital Developer Report. I know it's not a surprise to many people on this call because you are the developers who made this made this possible. But this was year over year, 2021 to 2022 growth in full-time developers working on Mina. And you can see here, like at the 100%, Mina, like out of all of the ecosystems that are listed, Mina's growing at one of the fastest paces, which is amazing. But with that growth also comes the need to build out the entire world of developer tooling and infrastructure that's required to sustain that kind of growth at scale. And so whether it's token standards, libraries, pre-built UI components, monitor tooling, security tooling, testing frameworks, developer guides, tutorials, storage solution, off-chain storage solutions, rollups, there's a blank slate to be written. And a lot of these things are already being worked on by different teams. But there's more. There's a lot more that can be done. And in order to make the ZK apps possible, and in order to kind of like serve the make that reality where we can kind of create this more economically inclusive internet through the use of ZK apps, then all of the surrounding infrastructure also needs to be possible. And so the same grant pool, which is available for this track as well. It's 250K USDC and 150K Mina per track. Yes, okay. And how are the proposals evaluated? Here is the very high level criteria again. Developer experience is, for example, how does the proposal improve the experience for developers building? Will the project help, or does the proposal proposed projects help onboard new developers and make it easier to start building ZK apps. Innovation, like, are these new solutions? If a similar project exists, like, how is this proposal kind of improving on that existing solution? Scalability, does it have the potential to scale and accommodate that growing demand for ZK apps in the future? So if that growth that we just showed continued, how can the tooling that's proposed serve the ecosystem as it grows? And then again, feasibility, like how is that possible? Is it possible given current functionality? Is it possible given the team's capacity, the proposer team's capacity or capabilities, things like that. Okay, how will funding work? There's a lot of words on this slide, but we also have, again, an FAQ on the platform, which everyone will have access to right after this call, and you can make an account. The initial funding, okay, I'm not going to tie it to the words exactly, but there's 500K USDC and 300K Mina tokens for both of these tracks, as we discussed, split right down the middle. Proposers, so as you're writing a proposal, you actually choose your own funding tier, your target of what you want to aim for in terms of funding. There's an option to do a base tier and milestones attached to that, and then an additional higher tier and milestones attached to that. And so it's a little bit like the Kickstarter model in that you can say, okay, if I get this amount of funding, I'm going to deliver on these milestones. If I get this amount of funding, I'll deliver on these milestones. And so we have those two options in there. The funding itself for the successful proposers, after it's voted on by the team of electors, it is 100% of the USDC is paid upfront. That is upon passing KYC and also completing like onboarding. And then as part of the proposal, you as a proposer are including what milestones you would want to hit 3 months beyond the funding date. So in this case, that would be July 12th. And you say by July 12th, and this is what you would include in the proposal. By July 12th, I'd like to hit these milestones. So let's just say you would get funded. The electors would say, yes, this is a proposal that we want to allocate our funds to. Okay, funding gets announced. After onboarding and KYC, you would get 100% of the USDC amount. And then after those 3 months, you would present your milestones to a team of panelists. Those panelists are also part of the elector group. And we'll also randomize it in a way that is fair. And then you present on the milestones. If the elector group then decides if those milestones were hit, and we'll talk about that in a future week around like the mechanics of how that will work. If you do, then you get paid out the Mina allocation as part of the grant. And the Mina allocation amount is basically taken proportional to however much your USDC amount was of the total pool. So the example that we give here is if your project received 10,000 USDC, that is, 10,000 out of the total 250,000 pot. 10 divided by 250 is 4%. And so we go back to the Mina pot, which is 150K, and 4% of 150K is 6,000 Mina. And so it's just explained here on the slide a little bit of how that would work. But again, in future weeks, we'll come back to this and talk to it in much more detail. The key thing to take away here is that you as a proposer are the one who's choosing your target funding amounts. The electors are then deciding which projects to fund based off of the criteria and putting that kind of like end user hat on. And then it's USDC upfront for successfully funded proposals, and then Mina on the back end upon hitting the milestones. Okay. The key dates that we're just going to call out immediately. So again, there's a lot of information here, but the key things to just think about is March 5th. I think it's about 2.5 weeks from now is the draft proposal deadline. That is when all new proposals must be submitted to the platform. They don't have to be final, but they have to be submitted. There will be no new proposals allowed after that date. We then have a couple weeks of feedback. And so we encourage everybody to go in and comment on one another's proposals in a constructive and friendly way. Again, we have community guidelines, which will, you can read them when you log onto the platform. It's really important that it's constructive and it's positive and it's thoughtful. The final deadline for when proposals are finalized is March 25th. And then that is when we go into funding mode, and the electors will go heads down on evaluating proposals and deciding where to allocate. And then the winners are announced on April 3rd. And grants will be paid. The onboarding process will be paid in the following, or will be allocated in the following weeks. Okay, how do I participate? There are a number of different roles which we'll go through. I would say the most important takeaway here from this slide is there are a lot of ways that you can participate. And since this is cohort 1, there will be many more in the future as well. So I would say for right now, don't get too worried about trying to find the right role or even get overwhelmed. I would say the important thing to focus on here is there's a lot of ways. Everybody's interests are aligned in that there are Mina grants across the board, and this is all about creating value for the ecosystem in a decentralized way. And so this is, that's kind of the takeaway that when I'm thinking about this slide. Electors, again, they're in charge of governing the grants. It's really, I think, cool and in a really interesting experiment to have influence on the future of the ecosystem and be able to kind of fund the projects that will end up bringing value, exponential value to everyone as part of the ecosystem. And just having a say, I think that's really important. They'll participate in the voting, and then they'll also participate in the crowd voting, or the final panel participation. For this first cohort, this is participate as an elector is invite only. And then there's also a lottery process as part of that too, because this is something that we're trialing, and we're, again, really excited to kind of see how it evolves. I'll now pass it on to to Alex to talk about the ambassador rewards.
Sweet. Thanks, Will. Yeah, we're really excited to have an ambassador rewards program for cohort 1 so that we can empower and reward you all to help grow the cohort as well as the Mina ecosystem. We think this is really important because it'll be the members of this cohort that are developing, shaping, and really ultimately building the ZK apps that are originated here. So having a more diverse group of builders with different backgrounds will help teams tackle bigger problems with more confidence. So I'll run through quickly how it works, but all these details that I'm going to talk through are all going to be available on the innovation platform, which you'll have access to after the call. So step 1 is you'll refer friends to join cohort 1 by joining the innovation platform. We'll share a link to the innovation platform with you via email after the call, and there's no referral link required. Step 2 is when your referral signs up for the innovation platform, there will be an opportunity for them to identify how they heard about zkIgnite, and that's where they'll name you. And then step 3, at the end of the program, if a proposal that your referral submits gets funded, you'll be eligible for a 2,000 Mina ambassador reward. There are some conditions that I do want to mention. Your referral has to be new to the Mina ecosystem. They can't have received a grant or participated in any previous programs. You can't get an ambassador reward for referring someone to your team. They have to be on a different team or proposal. And then finally, there will be a snapshot taken at the end of week 2 of cohort 1. So no more referrals will be accepted after that. But yeah, again, all these details will be available on the innovation platform on the page that is linked here on this slide. So if you have any questions, definitely feel free to reach out. I'll answer some here in the Zoom, but also on Discord. With that, I will pass it over to Caleb.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Alex. So each project within zkIgnite will be given a technical mentor to help guide your project. So this can be a valuable resource to help you get your project from an idea all the way through to completion. So this person can help with technical questions or just the basics of bootstrapping your zero knowledge project, help with your understanding of zero knowledge, and also help test and make sure your application is working the way you expect. So really helping push the project through to completion. It's a great chance to get wisdom from another person skilled in software or zero knowledge. So I really encourage you to use their time carefully meaning, go into this already understanding the basics from the tutorials and communicating in the Discord. We also have office hours, and this will help you get the basic understanding. This will allow your time with your mentor to be really high value to start focusing on fixing some architectural issues or questions, working on getting a solid user experience, testing to make sure things work the way they expect, and bringing your project to the end where it's a functional project and it works as it is expected. So this is also a chance for you, if you have some zero knowledge experience or some software skills, if you want to be a mentor for other projects, you can do that. We're looking for mentors, and this is obviously a great way to be involved in some of the cutting edge technology out there that's being built in this program, and to learn new community members and get involved in the space. So if you have more questions about this, or you might be interested in being a mentor, there will be the link to the form to sign up or to apply as a mentor, which will be in the slides, which you can get in the email sent out after this call. Just fill out that form and we will consider you to be a mentor, and I'll be on Discord as well if you have any questions. So thank you. And that's all I have for mentors.
So when you are entering zkIgnite, you might find yourself in need of some technical support. And so there are several places where you can go to get information and answers to your questions. So if you have questions that are related to the program itself and how things work, so some people have been asking in the chat things like, do you have to enter as a team or can you enter individually? Do you have to have your full team formed before you submit a proposal, etc.? Those are the kinds of questions that should go into the Discord channel zkIgnite Cohort 1. And if you have technical questions that are more to do with development using Snarky.js, then you can ask them in the ZK Apps questions channel on Discord. So when you ask questions on Discord in the ZK Apps questions channel, it's actually laid out so that you can search for people who have asked questions before. So you can search in there for some terms and you might be able to get answered. The question you're asking might have already been answered, so you can use the search function in there. We have technical office hours where there will be at least one member of staff from O1 Labs and also Mina Foundation every Wednesday. They are what are called events on Discord. So if you go onto our Discord server at the top left, there'll be kind of a wee box there that will tell you when it's happening and allow you to join. And so they're usually at around 5 p.m. GMT. So it's kind of like evening time for Europe, morning time for US time zones. And every 2 weeks, fortnightly, we have an earlier one as well for ZK office hours. But again, the details of them are the left-hand side of the Discord server where they are Discord events. And also, if you need more tailored or one-on-one support, if your project gets funded, then you'll be matched with a mentor who you'll be able to ask. They should hopefully be able to give you the answer or tell you where you can get it. So that's the end of this slide. I'm going to pass to somebody else now.
Nice. Cool. Yeah. And as you see here, there's Caleb and Angus's Discord handles, and then we'll also point you to, you'll be able to click into some of these key links. And again, this deck will be shared after the call via email, so all of these links will be available. Cool. I'm going to turn it over to Dor and Janae, who are going to take us through a quick exercise and set the stage for what we are focusing on this week. Again, like each week as part of zkIgnite, we'll have a theme, and that theme will have kind of an action associated with it. And so as we're moving towards the proposal phase next week, this week is all about insights, ideation, getting to know one another. And so Dor, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Will. And a big hand for you for all the great work you're doing presenting right now. We are 294 people right now. There's probably a couple hundred people else would have liked to join us, but they're in a different time zone. There's probably thousands of people that are going to watch this recording that for some reason were not able to attend. Can you imagine what will happen if we all actually coordinated and collaborated and build this ecosystem together? The power we currently have and what we can achieve if we can only move a bit from the mindset that we all grew up in, where we all compete with each other, where we're just like thinking in secret, right? And switch to a different mindset of collaboration and co-creation, how much our intelligence and our solutions would improve. And this is part of the journey that we're going through together here in zkIgnite, where we're actually transforming our mindset to build up that capacity. And you're all going to see together the amazing outcomes that we're gonna come out with. And this step starts this week with this prompt to share your insights. Can you move to the next slide? Yeah, so this is not just a hand wavy thing. This is based on science and experimentation and using state-of-the-art techniques that enables us to collectively be smarter. This technique that I'm going to share with you that we're going to do this week is actually backed by this. You can look at the table on the right, where they run maybe 20 innovation programs, and innovation programs that has utilized this technique that I'm about to share had a 26% jump in the quality of the proposals at the end. Okay, so why does it work? Why did we have this massive jump? It's because when we set up to solve such huge challenges of like, how are we ramping up our ecosystem for developers, or like, how do we bringing ZK apps to life? First, having a deeper understanding of the problem before jumping into solutions makes a huge difference. So, and this is what we're going to do today together. Today, in a short workshop, and on the innovation platform, we'll ask each one of you to submit your insight. So what do I mean by sharing an insight? It means that any kind of wild ideas and use cases you think are super you want to see realized, put it out there, share it for others to see and get inspired. If you identify big opportunities in the space, like privacy problems or specific groups where you think could be a potential for a problem that seeks a solution that can be worked on with ZK apps, share it. If you think there's amazing content like lectures or blog posts or technical concepts or any other resource you think would increase our general understanding and knowledge of the problem, we want you to share it. And the last one, more specifically targeted for the dev track, is many of you have been already developing on top of Mina, launching ZK apps in the front lines, like noticing where there are challenges and problems and opportunities to increase the developer experience. We want you to share that. We want you to throw in the challenges and surface the problems, making them specific from your own experience, so other developers can see them and they can start building the tools to ramp up our ecosystem. So I hope that gave you a bit of context, and I think I'm gonna, and let's all put on our collective intelligence hats and do it together. Passing to Janae.
Hello, everyone. Okay. Before we move on, I think we got to go into like a little transition mode a little bit. I kind of want to engage the chat. We went a little silly in the beginning, but let's do it again. Drop your favorite emoji or an emoji that describes you right now. I want to see it. Let's make the chat go crazy because I need to bring some energy in and out. Oh, someone said, ah. I feel it. Oh, we have someone, Alex is calm, sunset vibes. Okay, cool. Oh my goodness, I love it. Okay, so someone's a skunk. Are you a little stinky? Okay, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a little workshop, tying in what Dor just talked about, tying in everything together and bringing us all in one. Now, I know if you're like me, you have a lot of questions. Right now, you're sitting here, you're like, whoa, I received so much information. What do I do? What you're going to do is you're going to see that Q&A. It should be at the bottom of your screen. You're going to type in your questions there because we want to make sure at the end of this, you get your questions answered and we're helping you out as much as possible. All right, cool. So just note that, throw your questions in there. I know I saw some really great ones. And if you didn't get it answered in the chat, we will definitely try to get it in the Q&A. Now, what I'm also going to be doing is sending you all a link. I'm going to put it in the chat and be warned, we're going to be hopping over to a new space, or all collectively moving over. Will, could you go to the next slide, please? This is the link that you will need. So let's click here. We're going to our Miro board. We're transcending over. Uh-oh.
Let me click it. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. Cool.
Okay.
Oh, look at everyone's little. That's so exciting. All right. So if you could zoom in into that left column real quick, Will, we're going to all take a journey to the wild ideas. Whoop. Cool. All right. So how this is going to work is we're going to collectively, you see on the perimeter of this board, you see a bunch of Post-it notes. Those are all yours. Copy and paste it onto this column. But what we're going to do is we're just going to get in a little creative space, let our mind flow, be fearless, be open. I know sometimes it can be a little intimidating to share, but we're in a judgment-free zone. We just want to see what's on your mind. So what we're going to do is we're going to first tap into some use cases for ZK apps, something that you find like really inspiring, or you hope to inspire others with as well. Or it could be just something that you yourself, you want to implement. Now, just know that I'm going to time you. So you have at least, let's look at our timer now. I'm going to give you all a challenge of 45 seconds. We're going to do 45 seconds and you're just going to grab a Post-it and put a wild idea. We're going to slap it on there. And if you are ready to go, I want to see the chat be like, I'm ready. Just say it. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. All right. Someone in the chat say they're ready. Oh, yes, we're ready. Okay, cool. All right. I'm going to start the timer and we're going to go in 3, 2, 1. Go! Start IDing. Show your use cases. Put them down. I wish I had a band behind me. I'm sorry, this is musicless. Let's see. I know this might be stressful, but 20 seconds on the clock, y'all. 20 seconds.
Janae, I think my screen is frozen from all the activity. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, nice. Can you take the screen share for me and I'll just reshare when I get a chance?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Let's see.
See if I can.
I think it's going to make me share my screen.
Thank you.
There we go. Oh, time's up. What got me distracted? Now I lost. Okay, time is up. Let's do this. Are you sharing again, Will, or should I?
Yeah, maybe I need like 2 seconds, but sorry, my display. Do you want to maybe?
Yeah, we're just gonna jump to the next column. I think that'll be a bit easier. So we're all here. I see so many post-its. We'll get to them. We'll get to them. But we're gonna move over to our yellow column to the right. And here we're going to be talking about an interesting privacy problem that is worth solving. So we're going to be just share anything that you believe could be my brain. Anything that you want to share regarding privacy. And I see some people starting already. That is not the spirit. We need to pause. Fingers, no mouths should be moving. Let's pause. All right, I'm starting the timer. In 5, 4, 3, 2, let's go. Okay, gonna give you 10, 9, 8. I'm not gonna keep counting. What I will do is if you're ready to go, let's just say in the chat, I'm ready. I put my ideas in. Let's talk, let's hang out. Now also, let's see, is Will, are you ready to share your screen again? It's a lot.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy. Sorry, I think I've got it here. Oh no. I'm doing oh, no, sorry, I'm not, it's not ready. Can someone else take it from me?
Janae, you're on mute.
Could someone share the Miro board for me, please? Thank you, Door. Is that Door? Cool. Wow. Okay. So many little mouse clickers. All okay. If we could all there's so much going on. I think we're breaking Miro, which is kind of crazy. But if everyone could actually leave the Miro board and just come back to the Zoom meeting, so click out of your screen from the Miro and come back over to Zoom, that would be so helpful to all of us so we can see what's happening over here. Yeah, someone said Miro Guinness World Record. I think we did it. I think we just had the most people on a Miro board. All right. All right, so I actually have some on my screen, so I might go ahead and share mine. Not all of them are loading, but some of them are here. So, so our prompt here was some big ideas, ZK use cases, and let's see. Here's one. Proof of prescription ZKP allows purchasing of medications. Nice. Throwaway Twitter like handle to scream into the void. I think that's pretty relatable. Yes. Anyone else on the team see any that they want to call out? I would really appreciate it.
I think what we're gonna have to do is come back to it, because I think there might have been some editing or people were accidentally mass editing, and so we might just do like a Command Z times 100 to get them all back. But if leave that up to us, and we will figure it out. I think I've now gone, like, I'm in a very dark room and I haven't gotten up because I was trying to figure out my screen. I think the important takeaway for what we want to do with this week is get into that mindset of collaboration and like giving when it comes to ideas and perspectives. And if we go back to the Cambrian explosion kind of metaphor, which you'll hear many, many more times, the idea is, like, again, to not allow this development happen in a silo, but instead have it all happen in an open and discussion first environment. And so we'll take away the kind of exercise from the mirror board and figure out what to do with it in a way that will make sense. But I think, just to kind of reconfirm what the ask is for everybody this week, is to actually like take that mindset and participate on the innovation platform, which I will take everybody through right now. Let's see if this works. Okay, can everyone see? Okay, so if someone could drop the link in the chat, that would be great. And I'm not asking everyone to go there right away, because there's a registration process for involving, but we've been talking about this innovation platform. What is it? It is kind of like a custom built platform that allows for ideation, proposal writing, voting as a group, and then like it's kind of the mechanism that we will all work together on to conduct zkIgnite Cohort 1. And so I'll click through really, really quickly what it is. When you log in, there'll be some registration questions, and that's for us to kind of get a better feel of who's participating. Some questions are required, some are not. But when you get to the platform, you'll see we have it broken out week by week as to like not overwhelm with information. You'll see the kind of call to action, which is like share your insights for week 1. If I scroll down here, there are some instructions for week 1. They have both tracks that are listed here. So again, when we talked about the zkIgnite track and the Dev for Dev track, or sorry, zk app track and Dev for Dev track, we can go in here, and I'll click in here in just a second. We have the kind of call to action to become a mentor if you think that that's something you want to participate with. We have coming soon next week, which is kind of like, well, always this will be the section of what you can look out for. We have the upcoming events. And again, we're going to be doing weekly meetings throughout the program with different themes and different subjects. So you can click in there, and this is where you can come to register for those meetings. And then finally, we have a knowledge base where we have overview, we have a schedule, we have documents on each of the kind of different topics that we discussed today, and more information on each of those, and our community guidelines as well. I'd also like to caveat that like some of this information is likely to change as we get feedback and as we're learning from just this process. This is the first time. A lot of this was kind of like, trying to get it to a place where it's understandable, but there will be certain things that you'll point out to us that doesn't make sense, or this needs updating. And thanks in advance for doing that. For what we're doing this week though, again, like this is kind of like ideation, right? So we want to spawn this kind of like discussion and idea sharing and wild ideas and resources and anything that you think will be helpful to set up others and yourself for the proposal writing phase or proposal writing kickoff next week. So if I click in here into the ZK app track, it's just loading here. You'll see the instructions for week 1, which is to read the track description and click the insights button. And then once you click in there, you'll be able to read a prompt and submit your insight. And then down below, this is all of the detail that we had just discussed when it comes to the track descriptions. So this will be the kind of information that stays. And if we go to the bottom, this is kind of the criteria for evaluating proposals. And then if I scroll back up to the Insights tab here, we have week 1 insights. So the instruction is like, not sure how to start. This is where you can just kind of like test the waters. If we scroll down here, you can see there's a couple insights that are already on there. Looks like if I click into this one, the US government and Department of Defense struggles with zero trust identity. They still use hard tokens for identity management. This is expensive and poses many user issues. How might we develop a solution that could replace the old tech? And there's an option to participate directly as part of this challenge. If I go back, if I go to the discussions here, you can enter a comment and that comment will be linked to your profile. If I go back, maybe I'll just go back again. You also have the option to submit your own insight. So this is kind of that criteria that we just talked through in the insight or in the workshop, the chaotic one. Wild idea, knowledge resource, interesting privacy problem worth solving. Again, the idea here is just to kind of create this environment where we're engaging with one another. If you look in the chat already, there's like so many things that are being discussed, people that want to connect. This is the place to do it. This is the place to kind of like tell others what you're working on, what you're thinking about. This is the place also, if you have an idea and you're looking for teammates, kind of want to start already signaling that process. It's a place to get your name out there. And we have one for both tracks. So the ZK app track and the Dev for Dev track. So again, it's optional. The proposal phase doesn't start till next week, but I would really encourage everybody to kind of like, if you're here for, you know, what we've just discussed and you want to kind of like contribute and build the Mina ecosystem from the ground up, this first week is just a way to kind of get that process started. And I'm really excited to just see what, you know, where these discussions go and what they turn into, especially when we start on the proposal phase. I'll also I just like to call out that like when we shift to the proposals, the idea, like these insights don't translate to proposals. These will kind of go into an archive where you'll still be able to see them and access them, but proposals will start from scratch. And we'll also have a proposal template on the platform that will be very specific in terms of like the different, just categories that you'll need to fill out as part of the proposals. So think about this as kind of a low pressure environment to test out some of these ideas, discuss, meet other people, and yeah, just really just like jump in. Cool. So I think that was, so I think we've got about 12 or so minutes left. So we came in a little bit before time. Janae, I guess I'll pass it back to you for the Q&A.
Yes. Okay. So we're going to go in and answer your questions. Some of them actually, shouts out to the team, we have gotten answers for, but I do want, if anyone wants to put some more in, that'd be great. But I'm going to highlight some for a week so we can collectively kind of talk about them out loud. Some that I think that are important. Is everyone ready? Dor, Christine, Will, Raul, Alex, cool. Let's do this. So I'm going to, let's see. So actually, so I see that the first question here is there a template for the proposal submission? And actually, let's plug next week right now. Next week is all about proposals. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be building proposals, learning about what a proposal will entail, and just going through, basically entering like a proposal boot camp if you want. That's going to be our next week meeting. So if you're interested in learning how to get your proposal going and need some support, that's the perfect time to do. So stay on the lookout. We're going to be using the same channels that you found out about this meeting. We'll be using them again to get you on to the next. The next question that we can answer. Okay, this one's collective. Can mentors be proposals? Sorry, I may have missed this. How do we sign up as mentors? I think that's something we should shout out.
Yeah, so you can be a mentor even if you're involved in other parts of zkIgnite. Really, this is extra if you want to give a little bit extra time to help other projects and get involved in more projects, then we are just incentivizing that. So definitely for sure. And to actually join, there will be a link in these slides, which will be sent out after this call. And you can also reach out in Discord if all else fails. So hopefully that helps answer your question.
Thank you, Caleb. The next question, how often do cohorts meet each week per phase? It's like trivia.
Yeah, so we'll have each phase is a little bit different. But during the proposal phase, we'll have a meeting every week at this time. And it will have some component of like more presentation style like this, and then an interactive component. Miro, I think, is a good experiment for this first time, and also in the spirit of zkIgnite and the Cambrian explosion, like that was a very explosive thing. But we're going to probably work out other ways to do breakout rooms. Maybe we'll use Gather for people who have used GatherTown before, and much more like, we're going to kind of like evolve the workshop format as we go. There are also like our opportunities for you guys to kind of coordinate and meet together as you'd like. And so as a big group, I would say it's going to be this weekly meeting. And then as a smaller group, we really encourage people to just be spontaneous and start self-organizing in that way too. During the proposal phase and the build phase, it will be slightly different depending on the audiences and how we make that work. But we'll talk about that in future weeks as well. Thanks, Will. I just want to say that we kind of are giving Brady Bunch, and it's very nice. How many people will there be in cohort 1?
As many as want to take that leap of faith and join us on this amazing journey.
And yes, again, we will be sharing the presentation, and we will also be sharing this link to the meeting that you're watching right now.
I could offer a question here that was asked about the dev for dev track versus the other option. So if you're wanting to build something that might be used by other developers, so for example, a library or an SDK or some tool, then that would probably be the dev for dev track. And which one you should do, it doesn't really matter difficulty. It's more about finding some problem and figuring out the solution for that. So that can be a really big scale problem or just a small problem, but providing something of value in there. So whatever you can come up with for either one of those tracks would be fine. It's not like one track is easier than the other.
I can also add that I think that one of the key things that are going to happen during this first cohort is that a lot of you are going to find out what works for you, right? Like what's your place in the program, and what makes you happy, where there's momentum in terms of other people kind of like seeing your idea and wanting to join in or giving you positive feedback and stuff like that. So I really encourage you to experiment. Like if you think you're holding a great ZK app idea and also a great developer tool, then go ahead, submit to both tracks and see which one gets more traction, and you can decide later on in the program which one you want to focus your full attention on. I would just maybe one point about that. I would try to not have like multiple ZK apps or multiple dev tools. Like I would try to focus on like one proposal per track and not more. Just like, because I think otherwise there's a risk you're just gonna kind of drown out your ability to focus and also the collective attention over too many things at the same time. So just maybe try to keep limited to one proposal per track.
One question that I might want to ask Will and Janae is, I see so much excitement and energy in the chat from people who want to start building. I see a lot of people asking like, hey, who wants to form a team with me? Or this is my skill and what can I do? What would you recommend people to do if they're looking for a team or someone to collaborate on?
Yeah, so that's exciting because that is also one of the workshops we're going to be hosting in the next couple of weeks. It's going to be kind of a speed dating event, so you can meet people, get to know other people with different skill sets, and kind of dive into building your team. So that's actually going to be in the next 2 weeks. But until then, I would say just make sure you're on the innovation platform, you're active, and people are getting to know you, you're commenting on other pieces of work. Will, do you have any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would say we'll have like we'll have a formal kind of like workshop around that, but I think the most effective way is to be a vocal participant and to be active on the platform and to be commenting and submitting insights, and even during proposals, like commenting and giving feedback on other people's proposals, and then take it upon yourself to reach out and make those connections directly. Because I think the gatherings are kind of this like weekly town square meeting place, but really, I think the more deep connections will be able to happen as you seek them out. And everybody's different, everybody's styles are different, and a lot of that time and energy should go and like making time for yourself to carve that space out.
Cool. I see this question, and it's someone said this cohort was very helpful. LFG, are there lessons where we can learn snarky JS?
I think probably the best resource is tutorial 1 on the in the docs site, so I can get a link to that and drop in the chat. There's also some more concept articles on there, so how zk apps work and stuff, if you want to understand things at a better level. But if you're just looking to get coding right away, then I would recommend the Hello World right there. And of course, if you run into issues during that process, as always, Discord, which you can go to the zk apps channel.
I'm also, I also just, as we're wrapping up, I just want to say, it's amazing. Like I think we had like 280 people, and lots of people had like, this is a long meeting, like 90 minutes, and there's still 230 people here. So I'm just super excited. And again, like this is like the first of many, many cohorts. So as we're working through this, just like, let's make this happen. I'm probably gonna maybe we can call it here, Janae. What do you think? And then we can take it to Discord. Does that sound good?
That's perfect. Let's do it.
All right, close us out here.
Well, thank you everyone for your time. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Will. Let's give some applause in the chats, right? Thank you for hosting us. I know you're very probably thirsty. Anyway, everyone have a great rest of your day, night, morning, wherever you are in the world. We appreciate you so much. And we'll see you next week for Gathering Week 2. Bye.